Alrighty, looks like all our parts are here that we ordered for the Husqvarna 455 Rancher. We got our tour part here. I've already kind of gotten started on it before the video. We already swapped out the new handle. Here's the old handle. Got ran over and broke the handle. It messed up the throttle linkage. So we got a new piece of throttle linkage, a new handle, and we got a little service kit for it too. We're gonna go ahead and slap her all back together real quick. Alrighty, so we got the power head all back together and the handle and bar assembly back onto it and chains back on it, tensions right. Now what we're going to go through and do, we're going to change out the spark plug, we're going to change out the filter or air filter, we're going to change out the fuel filter, put new lines on it, we're going to put a new primer bulb on it. We've also still got to put in our throttle linkage and wrap that up, which isn't nothing but just slip that little guy in there and put that boot in place and hook up the link. We'll go ahead and do that after we do the fuel lines because it's going to get in our way, and we'll do the fuel lines once we have this air filter off and out of our way. After getting into it, I found that someone's already changed out these fuel lines. They're still nice and soft. They're not soft like they're deteriorating, but they're soft like there's some good high quality ones. They've got a brand name down in there. You can't really see it, the lighting's not very good, but the line has a name brand printed on it. So we went ahead and changed out the fuel filter. And I was checking out these lines up here. Most of them are good, except for this one is getting a little hard. So we're going to go ahead and change out that one. And we're still going to replace this primer bulb because this primer bulb's getting a little hard. And once they start doing that, they tend to crack out pretty soon. So we'll change that out. We'll change out this one on the top. The one on the bottom feels like it was recently replaced too. So we'll go ahead and leave those two alone. And besides, those two are on the return side. Looks like someone's mainly focused on trying to replace this one because there was chunks of rubber down in there, there's trash down in there, a bunch of sawdust. So we got that all cleaned out, and we're just going to go ahead and replace this filter and that one line in the primer bulb. Alright, so I've got the fuel system all buttoned up. It's good to go. Just want to point something out while I'm changing out these spark plugs. So carbon, not only is carbon buildup around here bad, but when you get it on your threads, I don't know if a lot of people realize this or not, but that is how this thing's grounding out, through the threads and through this washer. As you start to get carbon buildup and oil residue in there, that creates a lot of resistance right there before that plug. And resistance is not good for trying to make a good spark at this tip. You'll end up losing a lot of your amperage right here at this washer or right here through these threads. So I've always suggested making sure that you clean out your spark plug hole. Now this is after having already had brake clean ran through it. So now what I like to do is get you a bore brush for like a 20 gauge. Trying to hold the spark plug wire out of the way at the same time. Alright, so run that bad boy down through there. Make sure you got your piston down far enough when you do this. You don't want to really be running the top of your piston. But see how nice that made it now? That's going to give you a lot better contact right there at the threads. So, you know, just gain a little bit of power. You may not notice it, or if your saw is really gummed up, you just may. Alright, we're just buttoning her up right now. Throwing the top cover on it. Got the plug in it, new filter in the tank, new line to the primer and the carb, new primer, went through, cleaned up the bar a little bit, cleaned the chain, I went through the bar with a file, we cleaned out the clutch, we cleaned pretty much the entire thing, hit it with the air and some simple green and a brush and some spots. What else did we do? Changed out that handle, changed out that throttle link, and now we're just gonna get her all put back together and give her a little shot of fuel and a quick fire up. Just see if she fires right up, which she should. I don't see why it wouldn't. It ran when it came in. We're gonna tune it up in the morning because it's getting a little late tonight to have this running. Pretty sure the neighbors already don't like me, so we'll try and keep that down a little bit. Alrighty, I just pre-lubed the chain threw some oil in the channel oiler, and I didn't really top off fuel. I threw about half a tank of fuel in it, just that way we can get it running, and if we gotta pull it apart, we don't have to pull everything out of it. So we'll go ahead and prime her up. This is going to be our first start, so I'm going to have to prime her a couple times to get some fuel up to the carb. So we had the lines off, we had pulled that fuel filter off, so that fuel filter is going to hold some air, because it's kind of like a cotton ball in a way. It's going to have little pockets of air get stuck in it, so we want to prime it a little excessive, so that way we make sure we get all the air pockets out of it. Alright, so I think that should be plenty. Primer's nice and stiff. So choke's out, saw's on, pressure release. Oh, throttle just got stuck for some reason. That was odd. Now it feels like it's back to normal operation. So we'll go ahead and pull this cover off and figure out what just happened there. So I had operated the throttle before I put this air filter on. It seemed like everything was fine. But then once I got this air filter on, watch that little guy right there. Doesn't want to return all the way. It's rubbing on the side of that air filter. So we're going to go ahead and pull that air filter back off, see just what's rubbing. Maybe grind a little away at it, or just have to clean off the old one and go back to that one. This is what you get sometimes when you choose to go with aftermarket filters rather than getting OEM kits. The owner chose to go with this one because it was like $15 or $17, something like that, versus the Husqvarna kit, which was like 30 bucks. So unfortunately that's what you get. Sometimes you just gotta work with what you got. Alrighty, so with a little bit of modification, I was able to get that guy nice and free. All I had to do is heat up a screwdriver and carve it out a little bit, and we are good to go. We're gonna go ahead and throw this cover back on and give her another test run. Well, basically just wanted to make sure that the oiler was working and not all plugged up, and it looks like it's spraying a little bit of oil. Go ahead and wait till tomorrow. I'll tune up the carburetor. It looks like she's excessive smoking, so we'll have to get her nice and hot, and we'll tune up the carburetor, get that low idle tuned up, and we'll get a little bit more power out of it, because it sounds like she's getting way too much fuel all the way through the power band. So which I didn't really hit full RPM with it, but it sounds like it's 4-stroking all the way up, and she shouldn't be doing that. It should be sounding a lot smoother and cleaner in that, and it shouldn't be smoking nearly as bad. So, who knows, maybe some of it's just some oil that's residual inside the motor that needs to just get burned out of it. Like I said, tomorrow, once we have some sunlight and it won't make too many people mad to be screaming this thing around for a while, we'll get it nice and hot, burn anything out of it that's in it, and get that carburetor tuned up.